ready? Are you ready?
Well, welcome back to the Meta Sports League studios and the DigiFan Podcast. We are super excited. We got the whole crew here today. We got Wags, we got JC, we got LT's, Quirky Quirk, and Peanut. Welcome back to the Meta Sports League studios. Doc is fresh out of a Mexican prison. We're good. We're good. I thought you were going to say anything.
Yeah, better that than us.
We're taking
So
theirs
first
and they're
things
taking
first.
ours.
At least it's not El Salvador.
First things first. Let's go there for a second.
Let's go there.
We got a lot of mouths to feed here on this set. We do. Holy shit. Okay, so
Great fun, though.
Quirky Quirk is with us first time since like show one.
Let's go.
Like here we are, 18, half a year later, and you decided to show up. No, it's good to see you.
He just wanted to see if it was going to work.
You fit the schedule though. Like you got a real job that you got to really do. So thanks for being here, Doc. Your back apparently is healed.
I am good.
You were
I was hurting last time. I was hurting last time.
You should have seen what you looked like.
Yeah,
Your
I was
face
kind of
was red.
No, boy,
the
no,
whole
it's
thing.
not good. Not good.
It wasn't pretty.
I'm back. Thank you, Dr. Joe's chiropractor shop.
I've got a complaint to lodge before we get into today's
Like Dr.
action-packed show. We're going to talk about AO and his record-breaking run here. We're talking about the Reeling Wild. We're talking about the Wolves in the NBA, Twins in MLB. Little Vikings news for you. Peanut's going to take us on a ride through the NCAA Final Four, and then we will close it out. But before we get started,
Yes.
fan or not a fan of these?
The new lids from
The
Starbucks.
lids.
This shit. Like, what is this?
It spills all over the top. It's so
sucks.
weird.
That's why. Okay, so show.
It's biodegradable.
Hold up, LT.
It's not ergonomic.
Biodegradable.
It's not
Okay.
ergonomic.
Yeah. So like when you like it?
I like it because it's you'd never burn your lip.
Is this some,
Oh, nice.
Is this some sort of
Okay.
It's a gentle presentation to the lip where you gotta fill that reservoir. You know,
but the reservoir is
it's
for the
splash-
overspill.
it's
But now it's going to
splashing
be all
around in
over
there.
me. It's going to be in my car.
it's splashing around in there.
Yeah, but if you hit the bump in the car, it goes to the reservoir.
You're used to the
then
sippy cups.
If you splash it too much, it could get onto your.
This is weird. And I also don't think it's going to keep it as warm as that does, because this is probably some environmentally safe product.
I feel like
I got a great idea.
Is it
Let's
possible
worry
that
about
it
these
tastes
things
better?
while China's just loading up the plastic and it's flowing onto our shores anyway.
If it splashes,
God!
So true.
if it splashes too much, it could get on people's hands or fingernails too.
Well, so
are we doing is that like the transition?
so
That's the
we're-
worst
we're at
transition.
a famous-
Because let me just say, we could go to. He must have spilled some on his nails already.
No, he's protected.
I mean,
he's
like,
extra
seriously,
protected.
seriously.
What
we're
is the big deal? I'm going to tell you one thing.
We're at the hilltop. We got to tell everybody what we're talking about. We're at the hilltop. We're eating, and I saw the shiny, glistening situation to my left, and I'm like,
It was so pretty.
the first thing I thought is like there was like a little bit of a reflection from a light, and I go, oh, he was
mani-pedi.
painting, and he got some paint on his fingers. Maybe that's what was going on. And then I look again, and I'm like, oh, he's got that clear shit on there, like the old men, like guys in their 70s
Is it
and 80s.
is it the old men shit?
A little bit.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So tell us what's going on here with the clear nail polish.
Well, here's the deal. I was on a date with my wife, and prior to the date, I had my fingernails, and I was looking, and I thought, you know what? Instead of ripping it off or trying to manicure it myself, I'll just go to this new place called Kim's. And I guess it's not new. It's been there for 14, 15 years. And so I stopped
New
in.
to you.
So I, yeah,
People are-
100%.
people
Look
are
how
un-
shiny those things are. So then
People are unsubscribing by the minute.
and I'm okay with it. There's going to be other subscribers that we're going to want to
I
reach.
can't even look at it.
Oh boy.
And so all of a sudden, I go in there, and she does her thing, and she's like, "You need to protect them."
No, you don't.
Well, so
Take
anyways,
charge.
I have never been there. I've never
need to
had
protect
this
them.
done, and so I went with the clear coat because that's what she told me, and I'm fine with it because it wears off and it does strengthen your nails. And I'll tell you one thing: my nails have never gotten more attention, and thank you very much.
Yeah. The only other guy I know that does it is Vassalero.
Oh, is it
He
true?
does not.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm
actually,
privileged.
I think it's too much time
That
on your
says it
hands.
all right there.
100% privileged. Thank
actually,
you.
you're in there with MLB pitchers. They're big into the
Are they?
manicures.
Nail-
'Cause, you know,
Well,
Well, I do have-
you don't want to get a hangnail. You don't want to
I'll
rip a
let you
nail
have
off.
those.
You'll be in
I
trouble.
do have
So-
another friend.
I'll let you know a little
Performance
secret.
enhancement. Performance enhancement.
Go ahead. Secret.
I have been getting pedicures
Oh,
and
okay.
manicures, no color,
Yeah.
no polish,
Sure.
for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. No, I can tell.
Wow, the truth comes
so
out.
I can tell because I was going to react and kind of like go on the defense mode and make fun of you, and I couldn't. Well done. Well done.
No.
So you're
she
saying
tried.
it's cool, but just don't go with the clear coat?
Yeah, 100%.
Just go with the matte coat. Matte coat.
No,
not
she
the
tried.
glossy
I
coat.
think all that's doing
This is coffee talk here. This is coffee
here's what
talk.
I think all that's doing is driving up the price for the tip. It's like, would you like
Why do
fries
you bring
with
it
that?
up? Why do you bring that up?
Because
No, I'm
they're
saying,
flashing his eyes.
What I'm saying is if you get the
I don't mind giving her a
if
bigger
you get the
tip.
cuticles done and all that other stuff, it's all good.
Yep.
So, okay, now we
takes
got
one to
that
know
out of
one.
the way.
Takes
Yeah.
one to know one.
So all of this, you thought you were going to be
Bernsey, as long- as long-
ragingly, you thought you were going to be ragingly mocked, and I came.
No, I'm
to your
good.
aid and your
Yeah.
defense.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
But
I appreciate that.
the acknowledgement.
That was
Yep.
a good
They
wrinkle
should
there.
see his crotch.
That was a good wrinkle.
Wags.
I didn't see that coming.
Right.
Wags, you should see his crotch.
Why would you
why
say
would
that?
you
The
go
landing,
there?
he's got a landing strip.
Holy smokes.
How do you know?
I have no idea what he's talking about, but you know
How
what?
does he know?
He went to the Keys and he's really not back yet.
I mean,
He's still-
I
He's
came,
here,
I went,
but his
I
mind's
came
in
in
the
through the
keys.
outdoor once.
All right, guys. Alexander Ovechkin scores goal number
Oh, boy.
894.
Can we just talk about before? Right before you go into that, the first record he broke. Go ahead.
What? That's the first record he broke?
No, what is the first record that he beat Wayne Gretzky at? Because he hasn't broken.
Go ahead, Tom.
Ice time.
No. Ice. Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Corky.
Empty net goals.
Yes, sir.
Empty net goals.
Empty
Well,
net goals.
that means he's a good defensive player and he's out in important times.
100%. But anyways, that was
That's a
the
good
first
one.
one. That was the first one that he broke. So that's awesome.
So he
Wags
had,
too fucking shay.
thank you. He has 894 goals. His next game is Sunday tomorrow at 11:30 Central on TNT against those plucky New York Islanders. Mm-hmm. He has
He's gonna
6
get it.
games left. If he
Next
doesn't
game.
get it tomorrow,
Next game,
he
yeah.
won't. He won't be long without it. But this is an interesting take. Like, just to put this into perspective, I think Wayne Gretzky, everybody, like the older generation, ours, wants to protect the great one's legacy. Wayne Gretzky was an incredibly profound, creative player who changed the way the game was played, who happened to score goals. I don't call him a goal scorer. He happened to have this insane amount of goals, 894, because of how he was. So you could say, well, that means he's a goal scorer. Like was he a shooter? Did he set up on certain spots to get pucks? No. He had a number of the 210 career times 50 goal scorers have occurred in the history of the NHL. A number of them, like Curry and Anderson and Messier, all next to him. Maybe, so I kind of viewed it that way. One of the things that's interesting is there have been 3 players in the history of the NHL that have delivered 9 50 plus, maybe even 60 goal scoring seasons. 3. Can you name them?
Mario Lemieux.
He had 6.
Quirky.
Dead air.
Ask the question again.
Crosby's
Other than AO, there have been 2 other players in league history that have had 9 50 or more goal seasons in the history of the NHL.
Yeah. Did you already say Yager? Or
Yager,
No.
yeah.
No.
Gordie Howe.
No.
Bobby Orr.
Nope.
Geez, 50?
Brett Hull.
Wayne.
Danny Heatley.
Well, yeah.
He had 2 with the Ottawa Senators. Brett Hull had, I believe, 4. I believe 4 or 5. 4, I think.
All right, so Wayne. and
We got Wayne, and possibly, in my opinion, the most impressive goal scorer in the history of the National Hockey League. That those that know don't overlook this individual, and he was my favorite player back in the late 70s and 80s. The New York Islanders' Mike Bossy.
Oh.
Not only did he do 9 of those, but he did 9 in a fucking row. 9.
Holy cow.
Big time.
Nobody's
Big
touched
time.
that.
Who was his line mate?
Trottier.
Yes.
Trottier?
Clark Gillies was the muscle. Sometimes Bobby Nystrom. Now, note this. Any guess? Out of 97 players, there's 97 that have had 50 goal or more campaigns. How many of them are American-born?
Out of what?
97 players have scored 50 or more goals A total of 210.
Okay.
How many of those 97 players are American-born?
Under 20.
I'm going to go with 9.
You're right there.
For
You're
sure.
close, but go up just a couple more.
11.
12.
Wow.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
I mean, when you look at what this guy's done, he's played 20 seasons.
Yeah.
9 of those 50
Number
goal
one's
seasons.
Madonna, right?
What do you mean?
Isn't he number one American
In
scorer?
goals?
Yeah.
No, in goals. He might have points, but not in goals.
Okay.
I think goals goes to your guy, Hull. Boy, that must have
Right on.
hurt when he won a cup in Dallas. That must have just killed you. AO had a 60 goal.
At least the whole team didn't go to Dallas.
We should bring Mike.
Hey, he was in the crease. We don't count that one.
Oh, he had a toenail. We're good. And the refs are
in the
done with
crease.
5 periods. They had to go. I like that call, though, Doc. That was right on. He had a 60-goal season, 65 of them in 07-08. He has 14 out of his 20 seasons. He scored 40 goals or more. And in 19 of his 20 seasons, he has scored 30 or more. The Wild beg to have a 30-goal scorer. So the year he only had 19, he played 45 games, and he had 24 goals.
No,
That was
that's
2021.
impressive. That's impressive. But I mean, like at the end of the day,
Nuts.
people want to know, what are your thoughts on who's the real GOAT?
Correct. I was thinking to say the same
And
thing.
you know what? We can talk all
Depends on the generation.
we know
But,
what, we know what the answer
It's
is.
Gretzky,
Yeah.
obviously. Now,
Yeah, I mean, when you say GOAT, though, like, for what?
all around,
Best player-
Changing the
best player of all
game
time.
or, like, but, like,
Well, I mean, his career paralleled what you've talked about many times, the expansion of the NHL.
Yep.
You know, he was the face of the league when all that was taking
well,
place.
he helped the league expand. And,
He has-
and
he
being
has-
traded to LA didn't hurt.
he has
Correct.
most assists, most
Remember the
points,
SI
51
cover.
game point streak. No one's touching it.
Totally. But, you know, he is having some things touched, you know. I mean, I think he had so many records that I didn't think were ever going to be under siege. But I will say this. I'm just defending the newer generation a little bit. You know, I don't want to be the old, washed up
Yeah.
dude. Like, ooh, in my era, it was better. Have you seen the guys skate in the 70s and 80s? They suck. I mean, like, have you
They
seen
didn't
the
have a
goalies?
totally
They
different
suck.
game back then.
The goalies
I mean,
were
have
shitty.
you seen the skates back then and the goalie?
that,
I mean,
but- but-
times have changed.
Stand-up
the
goals.
sticks,
Stand-up
the
goals.
wooden clappers, like that's a little different.
I can tell you this.
Totally.
I can
The
tell you
stick,
this. Al Iafredi was shooting pucks at 100 miles an hour with a Woody stick.
Yeah.
He had a Woody while he was shooting.
Catching
or
that.
you had the Woody while watching him hit the clappers. Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is, I put those old pads on as a goaltender. I was trained the way they were trained. I train goalies in today's world. I've used the new sticks. I've experienced all of it. Their skating, they had their skates got better very quickly in the 80s and into the 90s.
lighter.
The game isn't even
quicker.
close. You've got coaches now that have video of every nook and cranny. They weren't even using video in the 80s. It was just sort of throw it out and play. Sure, we had some structure to regroup and how we did it. But, like, it is impossible to find space in this game today. And to do what this guy has done from a goal-scoring perspective, I'm going to say this. In America, we look down on goal scorers. Always. People only like the
You
helper
said
guys.
look down like it's
a
not
bad
a.
thing?
Well,
Like, it's
they're
a bad
viewed-
thing.
No,
I get
like,
this.
like,
Because it's a selfish more play. You're
correct.
not giving the assist. I will
In
say
youth
this.
hockey,
I'm not
it's
taking,
constant.
I'm not taking anything away from him.
else is more important than
No,
the
I think
goal.
he's an incredible goal scorer. I think he's probably the best goal scorer we've ever seen in the history of hockey. I'm not taking anything
Do you want to know
away
why
from
that
him.
would be? Health.
Well, yes, because you
Long
have to be
career.
able. Yeah, but remember, he did sit out the COVID year, and then the
That was the only year he had 45. I went through, and
If he played another decade, he would never break Gretzky's point scores.
Also,
his durability, he's played 90% of the games available to him in 16 out of 20 of the years. And he used to be a heavy hitter, as I said. He's also a plus 18 this year.
Wow.
yeah, but you're not.
Good
Go ahead.
plus minus
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say. I mean, also, don't forget he did actually sit out a month this year
Yeah.
with a broken fibula, and that's also something to think about too. Like the medical technology these days to keep people in the game longer. Like that
True.
would have
Substantially
that would have
better.
ended a career potentially.
Well, I mean,
back
that
then.
medical technology
You know?
isn't helping Kaprizov and Eck.
Well,
True that.
Different types
But
of injuries.
think about this: 2,857 points, Gretzky. That's the
I'm not-
goat.
I'm not-
and I'm just saying,
I'm not
even
denying
though
it.
it's changed, hockey's a lot quicker, a lot faster, technology's absolutely.
Yep.
Don't take anything away because finding any ice at this level is extremely
Next to impossible.
difficult.
Yeah,
So-
you guys would know that.
Well,
And to be able to do it at the level he's done it.
Is Gretzky the greatest mental player?
Oh,
that ever
for
existed?
sure.
Yeah.
Best vision.
Yeah.
highest IQ,
Best
yes.
understanding of the game.
Hockey IQ.
Yeah.
And he
Was
just-
a trailblazer. Was different
True.
than
Changed the game.
was different than everybody else. But like, let's just keep the suck fest to a minimum. I love the great one. Like,
I don't know if you did.
but every
That's
time
what we
this
call
topic
glazing.
comes up, every time this topic comes up in my circle of the older generation,
Yeah.
this like weird protectionism. I'm not saying what you're doing, LT, exists, but there's this like weird protectionism of like making sure that I'm okay that Gretzky is the greatest of all. I never said he wasn't. What I was saying is that what Ovechkin's doing at 894,
Yep.
I didn't think anyone could do. I mean, it used to be if you could get to 500 goals, it was a big deal. 600, you were damn impressive. 700, forget it.
Great.
You know, Yager
Gretzky,
played like 90 years, so like he was able to get his points, but
Gretzky brought it to the big screen though, where it was like, oh my God, look at this talent, and a lot of people caught on. I think Ovi's taken it to a new level of getting people to watch hockey.
Gretzky's
And
backhand was sick.
but it's
That's
and
when
he's
they were
done a
cool,
lot
according
of
to
great
Messier.
things for hockey. Yeah.
The commercial.
And
I like that
it
commercial.
brings up the conversation
His,
where
his offspring is sick as well. Paulina.
she's not feeling well.
No, she's
No,
She's
yeah.
good.
Incredibly, yeah.
I met
What were
her.
you saying,
I met
Peanut?
her when she was. I was in
I was
third
lo-
grade.
I was
She
lost on that
in
too.
first
What does
grade.
that
have to do?
I don't know. I don't know.
Still got that picture, huh?
If you ever want to know where
was a
JC's
miss.
mind goes, that is
yeah.
like a microcosm
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
We're focusing in on
Sidebar.
players. He's thinking about the daughter he'll never get.
Ultimate sidebar. Jeez.
It could have been a smooth.
So wild.
Could have been a smooth transition to live.
Oh my god. This is
No,
good.
and we're not talking live.
Okay, so
Nice try.
bringing up this point though, it gets me thinking a little bit about, even how again, I know I'm going to bring up basketball, but it reminds me of, the era, the time that Jordan played in. Again, I know
James
people
and Jordan, yeah.
people hate talking about, LeBron, they hate him. I don't know where all the hate comes from, but even making that comparison there.
I think he brings
do.
it on himself.
I do.
I get it.
You know, when he
But there's-
takes you
but
in
there's-
but
there's-
listen,
there's something-
listen,
there's something
listen,
undeniable about
listen,
what he's
listen,
done.
Listen,
He's a crybaby.
when you bring poli sci 1001 into sports, shut
Sure.
the fuck up.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Or when you
Valid,
curate your
valid,
own
valid.
team.
Or
Just
when you
leave it
step on
out.
the guy's
Play the
toe and he
game.
grabs his mouth
go
and he
ahead.
falls down.
So point being made, though, you guys said in today's day and age of hockey, though, I mean, it's hard to find any room. So and again, you get into these hypotheticals of, if this player played in this era, would it have been different? Do you think it was one of those things where Gretzky he was so far above the rest of the pack, and in hockey back then allowed him just to kind of exploit it to another level?
It's hard to do. It's such a good point. Like I was going to say back though,
so
in the
good.
era that he played clutching and grabbing, like a good defensive play would be as if you like literally got your stick in front of a guy going up ice and you held them back like this. That'd be interference now. Holding a guy's stick like this as you're going around with one hand, that was a good play. That's holding the stick. So it was really hard to navigate through the clutching and grabbing, as they used to call it back in the era. But then you think about like Jordan's era and what he was doing, and then you compare it to what LeBron is doing today. And I think for LeBron, the reason why he works is I think this is a big part of it. Longevity matters.
Yeah.
Like I always talk about the Stones and music. To me, it's all hype. It depends upon what you think.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily measurable. The only thing you can measure in music is how long have you been around? Do people still buy your records? Do they go to your concerts?
Yeah.
If you have all those sales up, then you're a great band, in my opinion. I'm not talking about musically.
Yeah.
So when it comes to this, if you can get on the ice and you can play for 20 years or get on the court for LeBron, what is it? How many years is he?
21.
21. Yeah. Like you're doing that year after year. I don't know about you guys. I watch these pro guys that step out every day and I'm like, oh God, I would never want to do that. Would anybody in here really, really want to put the price in to do that for 21 years? I think that's
They don't-
worth something.
Right, but
At a high level.
they don't have to do it for 21 years.
I know, but
They choose to.
But that's why he's the
And there's
greatest.
people that- yeah.
Not maybe the greatest, but I mean, it's a matter of preference.
The truth is, he's been doing it for his entire life.
I think the greatest part, his whole entire adult life. I think the greatest part of all of this
And
is
kid life. And kid life.
yeah. Since he could second grade
getting paid. I think the greatest part about this
high
is
school.
Oh God, I think
That's a can of worms.
it really comes down to, I think, your individual perception
Correct.
of an athlete and what you think of that.
Yeah.
That person, as an athlete, as a leader, as someone you follow who you really don't know. It's just what you see.
Yep.
Like nobody knows Alexander Ovechkin. Nobody knows Wayne Gretzky. You think you do, but you don't. You don't know him. So it's a matter of what your perception is of them, and that, I think, kind of biases what you think. I think it's next to impossible because the same people that were arguing against Gretzky being the greatest of all time were like, well, you've never seen Gordie Howe play. So sure, and so I think it's just a matter of preference and generation.
He might be the most humble GOAT of all as well.
The great one?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's what most
He's
hockey
so
players
good.
are. Most hockey players are that way.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I mean, they come from just a different
breed.
thread. So anyway,
They still shake hands.
Do I think Gayo's the greatest player of all time? No. Do I think
One of the best?
Do I think he is the best goal scorer of all time? I would say over time, yes. But I think that Mike Bossy had the best run. What he did was insane.
Yeah.
And then he got the bad back because what would he get in front of the net? Cross check. Okay.
Point being said,
Yeah,
one of
longevity.
the best.
Now,
One of the best.
one thing I want to point out, think about how hard it is to score goals. Minnesota Wild have had a grand total in 25 years of play
Here we go.
of five 40-goal scorers.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how hard it is.
And Parisi did it once, I
Gaborik with
think.
42. That was 07-08. Then we had to wait 10 years. Stahl 17-18 with 42. Then you had your
What
guy.
a pickup that was.
You had your guy.
He's an old
Kaprizov.
man, too.
Really good.
Yeah.
You had your guy Kaprizov with 3 straight 40-goalers, 47, 40, and 46.
That's great.
So Parisi never made it once.
He's not a goal scorer.
So Vanek was never close, or what?
No, not as a Wild.
What do you mean Parisi was never a goal scorer?
Not 40-50.
No, correct.
He's
But
a grinder.
he's total
He's
grinder.
a point
In
a
the
game
front of the
grinder.
net, yeah.
Point a game. 82 points a year. I'm looking for 108, 110, 115. I'm looking for like real point getting.
Wow. Love that.
Next level.
Let's go.
Now the reeling Wild. You're gonna love this, Quirk. We're getting into your avenue.
Domain.
4, 5, and 2 in their last 11, while the Blues are 11-0. Blues picked up 22 points in that stretch. The Wild with
it all
10.
started with a win
That
here.
5-1 win where the Wild
We were
just
there.
suck shit at home.
We were there.
Took the kids there, yeah, I think, yeah, I know I did. It was the start of 11. Yeah, this is
Great
a
game.
record so far, or tied the record for the Blues' longest win streak.
Well, they're in. They're gonna be playing Vegas.
Great time to get hot.
Yeah,
Let's go. We're going to
The
win.
Wild will never catch them if they make the playoffs.
So you're saying the Flames are going to beat them out for sure?
Flames are 6-4-1 in that same span, 11 points, and the only way the Flames
We're
won't
due.
make it.
We're due.
The only way the Flames won't make it is if they lose a few games. So they got Vegas tonight. They've got 2 games in hand, 3 points back. If they win both of their games in hand, if they have half a decent amount of competitiveness to them, when you're in trouble is when you got a guy on Bally's talking post game. They're playing the Vegas Golden Knights. They
FanDuel
suffer.
or Bally's.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
FanDuel. Fuck it is.
I don't even know what it is.
Whatever else it is.
Can we go back to Fox Sports North, please?
Like when they came on,
Let's go back to Fox.
when they came on the post game, I thought it was at a funeral. Like it was unbelievable. But when you start talking this way, saying Vegas got worked at home in a big game that I think was to the Kings or whatever, they're going to be hungry tonight and they're going to want to if you're hoping for that to make the playoffs, you've got a problem. If you're hoping that they just lost big and they're going into your yard and that's going to motivate you and they're going to be if that's what you're doing, you are out of control.
Hope and a prayer.
Yep. Yeah, it's literally living on a prayer.
It was amazing post game. Russo asked a question to Hines. I'm not sure it was a statement. I love the statement questions.
Yes, you gotta love the statement.
He asked the statement question, and Hines is going like this. He goes, I agree. That was his answer?
I agree with the
Well,
question.
what was the question?
Next.
I can't remember what it was because it was long.
Come on, Wags.
It was long because I was in and out. And then the question was asked. The locker room is demoralized. They're down. I mean, of course, the locker room's always demoralized when they lose. But when you're around it as much as he knows, how do you handle that? And he said, well, I think they understand what just happened. And what you have to remember is these guys are professionals. And they have to find a way. But the question is, really, does one guy who scores 40 goals a year for the Wild, 40, and another guy who's perpetually on the shelf in Eck, are those two really going to make your team that deep to be anything more than what it is right now?
No.
Probably not.
I don't
Not
think
coming
so.
in off the shelf.
Well,
But there's no timeline on that guy, I understand. There's one for Kaprizov.
They can't score. I mean, as a group, this team cannot score an ice hockey goal for the life of them.
No.
They can't. Not a field hockey goal.
Not a field hockey goal.
Field hockey.
Zook will be happy to see Kirill back.
Well, yeah, I mean,
If he makes it
he
back.
makes it back.
Have we heard anything?
He's supposed to. Yeah. He's supposed
Lower
to.
body injuries,
Yeah,
too.
he'll be ready in the playoffs.
They might not make it.
But will he
I don't
really?
think they're going to make it. I'll say right here, they're
Even-
not going to make it.
Again?
They're not going to
I
make
mean,
it.
just negative. Negative Nelly.
I'm just being honest.
No, I get it, but I
28th
think,
in the league in goals
I think
scored,
they'll make it.
2.68 a
Yeah,
game.
they're in. They're in.
PK is 31 out of 32 teams right now. Second worst in the league. Power play is 21st.
Second worst. Like that's
I
going to
mean,
stop them.
they're just, I mean, to their credit, they racked up 15 hours of penalty minutes under Dean Evison his last year. This year they're at 9.5 hours, so it's
15
better.
hours.
Who's
that's
the
that's a lot
leader?
of time in the box.
I know.
That's amazing.
That's 2 nights sleep. Now it's just 1 night.
Who's the leader of the team that's going to keep them from tanking? Who's going to pick them
No
up
one's
every
done it. They're done. I mean, if those two don't come back,
You
they're
don't,
out.
you don't think the Flower can have any impact?
Yeah, it's his last year.
I mean, it's
He
just a
wants
goalie.
this.
I mean,
Just a goalie.
He's a legend.
he can't score, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They can't score.
It's status.
But you don't think that has any impact on morale or culture of the locker room?
Who, him?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I
for
mean,
sure does.
I don't think you ever have to worry about this being a good group or, I mean, they're bummed they lost, but
They can get it done.
You can be bummed out when you lose, but when you have no response and no answer to when the Islanders score to even it up and then next shift score to take the lead and just basically fold, like that's not going to work.
I think it's just like
That's not going to work.
I think that the Wild Stanley Cup is just making it to the playoffs. And I think that's what they just need to go for. They're not going to go, deep into it. And if they can get to the playoffs, I think that's a good run for them.
Where are we on the 93, the race to 93?
They're at 89,
Okay.
So
How many
just
more
Two
games?
wins?
So just
How
2
wins?
wins and they're good?
roughly, but they've got Dallas next.
So if you
It might be 94, depends upon what Calgary decides to do.
Yeah.
so
This
even
playoff race
many
is in the
games- how many
Flames' hands
games-
because
how many
if
games
they
is
win their
So,
2 games in
there's 4
hand,
games
this is what
left.
they're not
Yeah,
getting.
how is the schedule so off balance? It's so
If
many
they
teams have
it's
so many
weird.
games. It is so
Push
weird. I feel like the
I
beginning
know
of the
it's
year
frustrating.
it was all.
So if the Flames win their 2 games in hand, one of them tonight, and then beat the Wild on Wednesday, they
over.
control
No, sorry,
everything.
Five.
And that is real. Guess who the Wild play tomorrow? Sunday. With their 19-17 and 2
Stars.
sturdy home record,
Play dumb.
your Dallas Stars put an L in the column for that.
Yeah.
Oh, but Kaprizov's going. We don't know that.
Hey,
And when he's been in the lineup, they
anything
don't
can
beat him
happen.
anyway.
Anything
So you don't
can
think
happen.
you don't think we can win the next 3 of 5 games?
3 of 5? No.
No.
2 of 5? Sure.
Come on, give
What
a
if they win 3?
Little hope.
They
bro.
won't.
What if they do?
If we have
That'd be wonderful. Good for them.
If we have to limp into the playoffs, it's going to be ugly.
They are limping into the playoffs. That's the whole point. This is like a joke. So
But you're saying that they're not even going to make the playoffs. I think they will.
I don't think they make it. I don't think they win 2 of their next
We
5.
should bet a nifty.
What
50.
if they won the next 2 and we're sitting here next Friday or next week?
Oh,
That
I'll
would
take
be-
it right up the arse. I don't care. Go ahead.
No, I want to.
I mean,
Hey,
like,
I'm-
let's
I'm
make
here
it
to-
pocketbook.
I don't know if I want to be here for that if that's happening.
Hey, I'm out. I'm out.
joking. That was a joke.
Hey,
That
guys.
was me basically saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Real
no. You
quick.
don't think they'll play for Flower though?
Yeah.
No?
We're bringing
They
Mike Rowe.
will. They will.
They're trying.
No. Real quick. Like we're focused on Minnesota, right? But like, what do you see around the league? Like, what teams excite you?
Winnipeg.
Besides the Blues and Winnipeg.
Well, we can still talk Minnesota and talk the Blues because Snuggy's
Boston.
on the team now.
Snuggerud.
Yeah,
There we go.
we'll see how the rookie does.
Snuggy.
He looked good. I mean, he's been in 2 games.
He's a good player.
He's got a good feel for it. They're
Does he have a
loving him.
point?
He does. He got his first assist.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Can he
he
be
waited
Brock-
out.
can he be
He's
Brock's favorite?
fast.
He's
He's
good.
fast.
I don't know. He's
Good
good,
hands.
though. Yeah, he's looking good. But
Rest of the league, what I really like is I'm so West heavy, but I really do like Winnipeg. They need to have more playoff success. They've struggled in the postseason.
Yep.
But boy, they are a well balanced, oiled team. They're very, very good in my opinion. I also am very intrigued by that Dallas Colorado first round matchup. That is going to be crazy with Rantanen down in Dallas now.
Yep.
How he got there in a roundabout way. I don't think that's the last place that the Colorado Avalanche wanted him to ever land, especially now. So I think that's really interesting. Vegas intrigues me a little bit.
I was going to say the same. They've always been sneaky.
They've got great special teams. And I know it's cliche to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. They basically kill penalties. They score on the power play. They've got a great environment and vibe from which to play in. I don't know. I think they're very, very good for sure.
Crookie and
Those
I
are my
were-
top 3
were
in the
Vegas.
West. Top
Crookie
4.
and I were in Vegas. That rink seems so small, but it is a cool vibe
it
down
is.
there. Yeah.
It's intense.
Your
Yeah.
top list was what?
I think Dallas comes out though.
top 4.
I think Dallas comes out of the West.
Okay.
Over in the East, if I were to handicap this, Doc, it's been really intriguing watching that Atlantic Division race with Toronto and Tampa. Tampa's done an incredible job because they aged out a little bit from their incredible Stanley Cup run.
Yeah.
But they made some unpopular moves by cutting Stamkos loose, but they basically replaced him with Gensel, and all Gensel's done is take his place. And they always seem to have some sort of blend of young guys, and they bring in, I don't know, I think John Cooper's the best coach in the league. I've felt that for a long time. He coached Team Canada, of course, in the Four Nations.
Yep.
I like him. Never turn your back on Florida with the super pest Marchand. But those 3 teams, together are
Hippie at
really
the knee.
intriguing. And then you've got the likes of Washington, Carolina, and the Devils. The Devils are what they are. But Carolina, after what they went through losing Natchez and then losing Rantanen after that trade, they basically got fleeced into some picks. And I mean, they basically were screwed because Rantanen said, I'm not signing here. And so okay, we got to turn this guy around like right now and get something different. But Washington has clearly been the darlings of the league with the AO story, but their 107 points are nothing to shake a stick at.
That's impressive.
They're really good. They've got the cup. They've got guys like Wilson, Karlsson, Ovechkin who had the last cup with them. So I think they're dangerous. I'm intrigued with Brady Tkachuk and the Ottawa Senators. That's going to be interesting. They're in basically, and I am rooting like nobody's business for Les Habitants de Montreal to make the postseason.
Okay.
They're hanging on by a thread with Rangers, Jackets, and Wings kind of lurking with a lot of points to be had there. So interestingly enough, in the East, the race is really more to 85 and not 93.
Yep.
By the way, the 93 is an inexact science, but it pretty much seems like that's what it is. So if I were to pick a team as a favorite in the East, I would love to say the Leafs, but they always find a way to implode. I mean, it's like the foundation is or the roof is too heavy for the foundation, the pressure, and they always seem to kind of like.
Yep. So then, off of that number, though,
So who would you pick? Top team?
I think I got. I like Tampa.
Tampa. Okay.
I do, but I bet you Washington comes out. I'm rooting for Tampa.
How can you not just
But I
get
think
behind the
Washington
Blues?
comes out.
Yeah.
I'm in the East.
Oh,
But you already called Dallas in the West, so
yeah.
I call Dallas.
yeah.
Do you want to debate that?
I mean, hockey is a very streaky game too, right? Like whoever is
Quirk, you're lavalier.
whoever is
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, whoever is hitting a roll at the time you want it, I think is big time for hockey. And I mean, we've seen it before. Like when the Blues last won the Cup, they were in last and then took it to another level with Binnington and then won it. I mean, I think there's a good argument for teams that pull it together at the end and are firing all cylinders. So I don't know. Then again, I'm biased, but I think there's something to it. Hockey's a streaky sport.
You're biased on who?
I'm biased. I'm biased on the Blues.
I'm biased. Hey, at least I'll admit it.
Yeah.
So then, wait. So the golden ticket for the Wild would be if they can have 2 wins, have an overtime loss, 2 losses. They should still be able to. They should still be able to make it. Hopefully, then
They need to have.
because that would add up to the points. And if they
need 4 or 5 points to get there.
Okay, 4 or 5 points.
They need,
okay, sure.
and that's the truth. But the thing that concerns me is that 19-17 and whatever it is 4 record at home, and they got a home game with Calgary.
Yeah.
They got a home game with Dallas. I mean, that Calgary game is looming massive.
Yeah, if they don't play those games well, people are not going to get excited about the playoffs.
22-12 is nothing to
If they
shab
make
at
it.
either in terms of
Incredible road record.
incredible road record relative
But
across the league.
it's stunning. If you go back to the first month of the season, they were the hottest team in the league. I mean, it's amazing what's taken place.
Well, I think it goes to show it plays more to their financial situation, their lack of depth, their lack of goal scoring depth.
But what
And their
do
horseshit
we
penalty
credit
kill.
to the first month of the season?
Yeah, good question there.
Goal scoring?
Yeah.
Wait, what's your take on Billy? Gonna throw out a controversial
good.
topic here.
No, I mean, like I'm probably contrary to this whole room. Maybe contrary to what a lot of people in this market think. I think, given the fact, and your guy Doug Armstrong said it best when he was asked in last year's presser why in the world they didn't tank to get a first-round pick, and you know what Dougie said? He said, okay, do you know how hard that is? So what you're asking me to do is have our team tank in a ticket-driven business, have nobody come to the games, and then hope among hope that first we're going to get the first-round pick, okay? And then second, there happens to be a generational player that may fall into my lap. Mm-hmm. Let's talk reality.
Brock Faber's not going to do that.
Right now,
You're not a Brock Faber fan?
We don't know.
I said he's not going to do that.
No, I'm just saying a generational talent like an Ovechkin, like a Crosby,
Got it.
like a Gretzky, like a Berard, or a Bedard. Sorry, I was thinking of Brian Berard of the Islanders. I don't know why. Bedard, like a Bedard, like
Chicago.
He's like a minus 3,000 right now on a shitty team with no infrastructure.
Yeah.
So it's really, really hard to get lucky in drafts. And drafts are luck. They do require some, you got to have health, you got to have skill, you got to have all of it.
Or like the Oilers just tank year after year after year to build a team off that.
How has that worked?
Not that well.
How many cups have they won?
Well, they got close, but not close enough.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's tough. And so I think, in Minnesota, they definitely can't tank because ticket sales do matter to this team. And the second there were green seats, they went ahead, and I've said this story a million times, they went ahead and signed Suter and Parisi to absolutely ridiculous contracts. Felt good at the time. But
Still suffering.
But when you looked at it, you go, 13 years down the road, that's going to suck. Well, it sucks. And the mere fact that they're in the midst of it and how this started, I say Paul Fenton is the one that began to address it and started moving things around to say, okay, we got to get rid of these young guys who are going to have big paydays because we can't pay them, and we better get something for them for younger guys that we can grow along. And then basically he probably would have been the one that was going to buy those 2 out, so then they could extend these young guys. Right. So it's been a shit show. And I think he's navigated it beautifully. I don't blame him or fault him at all at the trade deadline for not making a trade because, again, I've said this on another podcast. What are you going to do? Who are you going to move?
Yeah.
No one's going to sign.
Not a lot of options.
That's my first one of the day. No one's going to sign
Yep.
if they don't get a no move. They're not. So everybody gets no moves now, as you know, or limited, no moves. And then you can't move any of your young talent because you're trying to cycle it through as you're building your culture. I think actually, Doc, he's done a really good job. That's a long-winded answer for saying navigating all of this BS, he's done a good job.
Yeah, and I don't know that I have a strong opinion one way or the other, but I just know it's a talker out there.
Yeah, it's easy to do to blame a GM when a guy gets hurt.
True.
Right?
True,
It's easy to do to blame
Funny
a
how that
GM when
works.
his hands have been tied.
Yeah.
Basically, in my opinion, by an owner that said, sign these 2 guys that can't have any more green seats because basically this is a family business and I can't have money being lost here. I can't. I can't do what the Polats did and lose $450 million. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Or be $450 in debt.
Was that Nagley at the time, or what was that? Who was that?
Nagley.
Yeah. Okay.
Leopold was the owner of the Preds.
Okay.
Then he got out of that, and then he jumped into the Wild.
Yep.
So yeah, I think he's doing just fine. I think it's easy. I think it's easy to take shots at that, but at Billy.
When are we going to have to stop calling ourselves the state of hockey?
How about today? How about yesterday? Drives me nuts.
Why?
So speaking of this,
listen to
No championships.
That's fine.
What peanut?
I was saying we're
Come to Edina.
Even
What peanut?
Even the
peanut?
even the Gophers are underperformers.
The city of hockey, town of hockey.
What peanut?
town of hockey.
We are the state. Right here.
By the way, quick nugget. Wild are a
Yeah,
plus
nugget.
minus goal differential of minus 13.
I did see that too.
Flames are minus
For the-
22.
for
Canucks
the
are minus
year?
21. Yeah, they would be the only team. If the Wild, Flames, or Canucks make the playoffs,
Totally
they'd be
have-
the only team in the West with a minus rating.
That's wild.
Sheesh.
So that means
Yeah.
that basically when they lose, they just lose real big.
Yeah. Or if they win, they win real little, 2-1.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting.
I mean, I just, frankly, I can't watch this team. It's so hard to watch.
It is tough.
Oh, it's painful.
A team that is maybe a little bit more enjoyable to watch. Have you been watching the Timberwolves the last couple of games at all?
On to the Wolves.
On to the
Segue,
Wolves, boys.
peanut segue. Let's go.
Good segue, peanut.
Thank you, Peanut.
I'll finish with saying it's not that I love the Wild or hate the Wild. I'm just saying they aren't good. And I don't want to hear any guy say, everybody doubted us. Of course we did. You're terrible. Like, what are we supposed to do? You're losing. You know how they do that? No, nobody believed. Why should I believe in that?
Chip on the shoulder.
Yeah. You said. Of course, you're terrible. What am I supposed to say? You suck. Okay, the Wolves. How about this? They're 2 back of a 3 seed right now
Yeah.
Nice.
with 5 to go.
Yeah.
So they got play in.
So, what was the consequence of him rolling his ankle on the coach's foot? Is he back?
He came back out. I've got a question. Those guys got to sit the hell down.
Yeah, why did
Yeah.
the,
Get on the
coach,
bench.
the coaches keep getting... Oh, he broke his leg last year? What did he break? The coach?
Ours?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he blew out his knee.
blew out his knee.
Was that last year on the bench?
Yes.
Yeah, these
Yeah.
guys are up and down, and they're
Coaches
on the
just
floor,
need to
and
stay
just sit
out of the
down.
way.
Do the Phil Jackson. But they could get a 3 seed.
They got the 76ers tonight.
They got to finish that game, though.
The Bucks.
The
Just
Bucks, Grizzlies, Nets, Jazz. I mean, I see.
Don't count
all of
wins.
these.
Don't count wins because you never know with this team.
No.
I'm not even.
You know what I mean?
I'm not even looking. I'm going off of feel. I could look at the record.
They could
Jazz
easily lose in
historically-
Philadelphia when they should win because that's what they'll do.
I honestly could see them losing to the Bucks and Memphis.
But then they end up beating the Bucks in Memphis and then losing to the others.
No way.
Such cynicism.
I'm just saying. No,
Such cynicism.
One of the things that
they're gonna come 3
Finchie,
out of
one of the
2.
things I heard Finchie saying in an interview this week was, it's been something I've been championing forever, and it's been, you lost to Washington, you lost to Utah, you lost to the Pellies, right? What do you think? Well, it's a long season, and the guys just have to learn that you got to finish those games. You got to finish those teams. And they keep thinking, well, there's another game. But it invariably comes down to 1 or 2 games for being home or away, or having a better matchup or not a better matchup, or being in a play-in game or not being in a play-in game, and you cannot throw games away. I don't think this team is at the throw games away mentality right now. But I will say that the Denver game may have been the best regular season contest I've watched. Regular season in a decade
Yeah.
of anything.
I saw parts of it. I saw more highlights, but you're saying that I need to go back and actually watch it all the way through if possible. 'Cause I heard a lot of people say that Jokic's performance was
The
one-
Joker was dialed 61. He scored every possible way. Who's more of the basketball fan on here, Peanut or me? You wouldn't even know. No, but the Joker scored every way possible.
At one point, Ann said post game, he's saying like we were just hoping and praying that he wasn't going to make it.
It was so funny because in that same interview I heard with Finchie, he was saying, when we play a guy like that, we mitigate, so we tend to like take away his options and we mitigate his damage. There was no mitigation going on there at all. But what was most intriguing, Peanut, you're in the Mile High City.
Yep.
You've got the lighter air that we always hear about. And he played the entire second and third quarter and all of the 2 overtimes.
Wow.
He never came out.
Yeah.
That played to the Nuggets' depth because Jamal Murray and Porter were out. But then we had Dante and Nas on the shelf and a coach with their fight with Detroit.
Yep.
But I just felt that game had everything. The Joker was so good when he needed to be good.
Yep.
The Wolves responded constantly. They got themselves a little bit of a lead. I think it was like 7, and you're like, okay, maybe we can pull away. Didn't happen.
No.
And it was just an absolute back and forth affair. But you always felt like something was going to happen. But did you see the end?
No, I know. I know.
So disappointed. I want to talk to you about this.
Go ahead.
So they're up by 1. We miss a 3. They rebound it, rifle it down the floor, 2-on-1. Russell Westbrook is racing in, and he gets the ball, and he's short on a layup. And ball drops in our hands, whip it down the floor, transition. Then the 3 is put up by Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He's fouled as he's falling backwards after he'd released the shot.
Oh.
And they had to check the clock to make sure it was still in play. Regulation. 0.1 second.
Yep.
So when the contact was made, 0.1.
Yep.
So now he has 3 shots to make 2 for the win and 1 point with 0.1 second on the clock.
Yep.
So he makes the first 2, boinks the third one, and the Joker he only went like that to try to. It was funny to get it down the court. But the big discussion was, why didn't Westbrook grab that ball on the 2-on-1 and loop back and run it out or get fouled? Because that free throw, take as much time off as you can, still would have made it a 3-point game.
Yep.
1 possession.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, but anybody can say that when you're sitting upstairs and not in the heat of the moment, and it's easy.
Retrospectively.
Yes.
So taking that and then looking at what we have slated, as you said, things could shake up. You got LA, Denver, Golden State in front of us. We have tonight against the 76ers. They all have pretty difficult matchups. I was just looking. You got the Lakers, who are going to be playing the Thunder. That's going to be a challenging game for them, I believe. Potentially Denver plays the Pacers. That's also going to be a good one. And then Golden State plays the Rockets. So considering where we're at 19 games back of OKC, but we're all within 2 games between 3 and 6. We win tonight, that puts us up at least a half game, and then we'll see what happens next year of these.
What this all means is get out of the play-in first, get out of that.
Yep.
And then it means, okay, now you get a 3-6 matchup. Who's your matchup going to be? It's most likely it's not going to be the Rockets, and it's not going to be OKC. Right?
I would love to play Denver again.
Okay, I don't. Do I know why?
We have their number.
For now.
We've had their number.
I know, they're too good.
The light air. You don't like the light air?
No.
He doesn't like the air all the way up there.
That
was good.
If you go to the well too often, it's going to be dry. And they've won 6 in a row against them. And at some point, that's going to come to an end. That's my thing. No, I don't. For some reason,
that's how I think for the Wild.
Okay, good. I wouldn't say I'd say no to that matchup.
So you'd rather face Golden State?
Never.
Who'd you like to face?
So then why don't you?
So you'd like to go against the Lakers?
Golden State is 21-5. Yeah, I do.
That would actually be fun to see if we could.
Golden State.
If we could play the Lakers.
I appreciate your process of elimination.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why in a second. But Golden State is 21-5 with Jimmy Butler. 21-4 with him.
I would have never guessed that in my wildest dreams.
Of course, he always starts out hot wherever he goes, and he'll bitch his way right out.
True.
The door. He'll pout his way out. Okay, so then tell me I'm wrong. And then with the Lakers.
No, you're right.
All right, thank you. Then with the Lakers, I feel like
here we go.
Luka was Luka in Dallas, and that whole rotation was a different beast.
Yep.
I feel like the Wolves match up with the Lakers pretty well across the floor.
I'd agree.
And then they can do some things with Luka maybe they couldn't with Dallas. That's why I'd be good with the Lakers.
Okay.
Doesn't mean they'd win, but that's if I had a pick. There's really not a matchup. Actually, if I'm the Wolves, I want OKC.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Really?
I'll take the Lakers.
Young and inexperienced.
So, what, you think we're just going to... Well, yeah, I guess if we're at the 6.
Well, they'll never get OKC, later. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to look at that match and go,
Sure.
It's not like Boston.
I'm with JC.
You know what I'm saying?
Lakers.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
I like the Lakers.
There's a difference between Boston and OKC as far as my fear factor goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Right? Twins are only 2 games back. We got Buxton leading the team.
They're only,
That's
they're only 1 game back, aren't they?
2 games back. Off
With,
the pace.
with how many to go?
And Buxton
100 and
leading the
160 to go.
team.
Hey, who
Buxton
wants to
Get
leading
them
the team
wags.
in
Get them
hits.
wags.
Who wants to take a field trip tomorrow?
Oh, to the Twins game?
Yeah,
Ooh, that might be fun.
I'm open.
You know what's amazing is Buxton leads the team in at-bats.
No way.
Yeah.
Not possible.
Well, okay, so you open this. I've got one word about your Minnesota Twins.
My Minnesota Twins, you're the one that bought the TV package.
I said your Minnesota Twins. Wow.
He also calls Baldeldi. You're Baldeldi.
Yeah, your boy.
You're Rocco.
You fucking love him. I would throw
Love thy neighbor.
Love thy neighbor.
Love
I
thy
would
neighbor.
throw this.
I love that.
If you're to
I love
ask
it.
me about the Twins, I've got one word. Ready?
Harrison Bader?
Yeesh.
Harrison Bader. That's 2 words, but those are good words.
The sad thing
Harrison
is,
Bader has been the one bright spot.
the sad thing is, it looks like it's rinse and repeat from last year.
Harrison,
unfortunately.
you're right.
Yeah.
Harrison Bader has 4 hits, all extra bases, 3 bombs, and a double. He's got 8 RBIs. He's been great in the outfield. He's been a real pleasant surprise. But he's the only one that's not part of this just drab culture that they've built here, which just sucks.
Yep.
Their starting pitching is
Atrocious.
29th in the Major League Baseball behind in ERA, behind only Milwaukee at 5.34. Their overall team batting average, ready for this one, Quirk? Hitting a sizzling 180. Ooh. Their 534 OPS is dead last in Major League Baseball. They're 0-4 against the major leagues and 2-1 against the Sox.
That
And
sounds,
they're right in the hunt.
That sounds
I hear
like
ya.
a recipe for success.
Well, I think the whole coaching staff
I think we're fine.
out of here.
They need some torpedo bats.
They do.
We'll get there in a second.
a lot of torpedo
I
bats.
just called for a firing and nobody
We need
bit.
some more pine tar.
Managers,
All of it.
Well,
owners.
it's too early, but
Owners aren't going to go anywhere until they can sell it if they can.
yeah, they got to be in 50 games.
Well, I mean, I was at honestly 0-4. I was ready to go because there's a little number out there that out of 92 teams that started the season in history, 0-8 is it?
I said 0-7.
0-7.
Yeah.
Of 92 teams, 4 have made the playoffs. So if you're hanging,
so maybe it's I thought it was 0-7 that none had, or was it 0-8 that none
maybe
had?
it was 0-6.
Yeah,
because they're
Close.
using it around the Braves.
I saw that article. I think
So-
it was
so it's
0-7.
So
that
0-6, it was
no one has
4.
made. Yeah,
And at 0, so we're talking a game
That's
or two.
insane.
Yeah,
Get them
that
out
was-
of here. They're not going anywhere.
is wild.
Get them out over. And this is carrying over from last year.
when you think about how long a baseball season is, to go 0-7 and never ever have a team
You
make
can't
the playoffs,
recover from that.
is crazy.
It's insane. But then you look at the Dodgers, who start 8-0. They're now 8-1. They lost another high buck team in the Phillies. I mean, there's so many things that's broken about baseball, and the CBA ends on the 1st of December, 2026. And my understanding is, from what I've heard, undisclosed source, there's a very strong possibility of long work stoppage over what's desperately needed salary cap / rev share.
Really?
Yep.
So you think it's going to take a while to
The
iron
game
out?
is cannibalizing itself.
I would agree.
It sucks.
There's definitely got to be a salary.
How does that affect the Dodgers and the Yankees?
It's the only way it's
say?
going to work.
brings them
The
from their,
Mets.
it brings them from their $300+ million a year payrolls, and brings it back
Balances
to
it.
150.
Yeah.
Let's say as
That would
as a
be
ceiling.
that would
Wow.
be
You
incredible.
look at Miami; their payroll is like 67 million.
Yeah, it's just
You know,
unfair.
the Twins are in the mid. You know, with their 120, 125,
Yeah.
130.
Is that not even counting like all the deferred salaries that some of these players are taking?
I
Like,
don't.
Shohei is like he's like I'm not getting paid for 10 years. Basically,
I don't know.
until-
Well,
yeah.
I think that what is this year is what's being paid this year.
Yeah, 'cause
But,
a lot of their
it
salaries
would be
are
close
deferred
to
a
$1
long
billion
time.
for a couple of those teams.
yeah, it's
So, like,
crazy.
So right now,
Payroll
yeah, for right now,
for 20 guys, 25 guys.
Dodgers 330 million, Mets 321,
Yeah.
New York 289, Philly 283, Toronto 243.
It's hard to compete.
And then you go all the way down. Yeah, you said Miami 67 million, and then Chicago.
It's like
is
the
at
lower tiers. How-
73.
How can they
What
ever
numbers the
compete?
Twins? Are they like 18, 19?
Yep, 18 at 145, which
Yeah, how they
is
can-
kind of about.
that's good.
You know,
I mean, with the
kind of-
market size, that's what you would expect.
Yeah, I would say it's about probably.
So okay,
pretty
so
appropriate.
let's be honest. This is the money you're spending on this edition. You're spending it. This is what you're getting for it, and you're not clearly Miami, Chicago, those teams down there in the
which
basement.
is just wild to think
Of
that
spenders.
there's that much of a difference.
I just feel like this team. It just feels like really flatlined to me.
Yep.
Since last year.
Well, I like your
It seemed
comments
flat for years.
previously where we've got to get off this this data as well. Like, how can you really affect
The Moneyball
a
data.
team? Yeah, if you're so like Baldelli, we think is more of a culture vulture. He doesn't get to call pitchers and you know his lineup is handed to him, and
Well, and his moves are handed to him.
Yeah.
But how can you play
So you're
money?
saying that everything is orchestrated for him.
From where?
Yeah,
from the
well,
GM?
I have a very strong.
He was hired under that philosophy.
So Paul Molitor, it used to be when you were a manager, part of your job was to create your lineup and to manage the game and the personnel.
Big part of the job.
And you would do it, and you'd gather your information the way you would gather it, and you do it. Some of it was off statistical things, some of it was off feel.
A lot of it was.
And then-
So what is
and then-
Rocco just?
And then what they wanted
he's
to do,
slap-assing or what?
But here's what happened. Then they wanted Molitor to basically. Now I'm getting this from a strong source too, a very strong source.
Totally true.
They basically wanted him to dial in on all of the Moneyball scenario. He did everything they asked of him. But when they kept spitting out lineup cards and saying, "Here's your lineup," because the Google machine
Right.
says this is what it should be.
That's when he had enough.
Well, and that they got rid of him, but he was like, my understanding was like, this sucks anyway. This isn't even managing a team anymore.
Right.
But Rocco Baldelli, newer guy, I'm sure he's cool with it. And I mean, I don't know it for sure. I'm not seeing this happening, but I'm saying it sure feels and looks that way, like that's happening. But think about it this way. If you're playing Moneyball and you're the Oakland A's and you have like no money and you've got to find a way to maximize your roster and your scouting potential the best you can, you start this whole process, okay? You're the only team doing it. What do you have? You have a competitive edge, okay? So then when everybody else starts doing it, even the Dodgers and the Yankees and everybody else, now you don't have the edge. There's no edge.
No.
It doesn't matter.
Everyone's got the same analytics.
So now you're all doing this, and it's like gridlocked.
Yep.
So I think that's shit's got to go. I do think you can use it a little bit.
Yep.
I can't stand it when I read a story and they talk slash line. I don't. Shut up. I'm old school. Just give me. Do you like the slash line?
I mean,
His OPS is this. Do you give
no.
a shit about
I mean that
No.
stuff doesn't matter.
No.
I don't care.
No.
There's
Thank
much better ways that you can.
Does he get his?
Just give me his average.
Does he
give
get
me
on
his ribbies.
base?
Give me
Does
his
he get on
average ribbies,
base?
and I'm okay if he's getting on base. If he's the other thing is, the computer machine says I think that Matt Wallner should be your leadoff hitter. Okay, now they are having him steal some bases,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Is he a prototypical leadoff hitter? I like my leadoff hitters to have power.
Yep.
So I like my leadoff hitters to be able to spray it around in any situation.
Yep.
I like my leadoff hitters to be able to run a little bit too, and have some energy. Doesn't matter if you're big, small. You don't have to be a center fielder. You don't have to be a shortstop. But I like a hybrid. I call it the Ricky Henderson version.
Fit those categories.
You got to get on base.
You got to knock it out of the park too, though. Because the reason is you got to be an RBI producer at the leadoff spot because 7, 8, 9 are your new 1, 2, 3s, and you're the new 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good way to look at it.
Thank you.
Spot on.
Oh, interesting.
So that's your Twins take for me. Just
All right.
stick a fork in the season already.
Let's do it.
I'm done. Oh no, we got a little more NCAA basketball.
I want to hear your thoughts. I know you're asking
Oh,
me.
I thought that was This Is the Last Minute. Sorry.
It is.
It is.
Okay.
Not quite, but
My thoughts on the NCAA
Yeah,
basketball?
I've been following it, and now
I haven't looked. I haven't watched a minute of any game.
you haven't watched them.
I don't care.
not a minute.
No.
Well, this,
What-
this will be a
in the
short
hell?
What's your reason
segment.
behind it?
I have had such a hard time with college sports as a whole with NIL. I've had a hard time getting into it and following it. It just feels gross to me. I got to take a shower every time I watch it.
Oh, wow.
All these guys are bumping from transfer portal to this to that. There is no such thing as a freshman anymore in college sports because all of the big schools are reloading now with transferring sophomores that another program groomed for you to have,
Yep.
and then the shitty schools get all the freshmen. It's I just can't do it, dude. I can't.
So
Like,
same applies in football as well.
yeah, like you don't get any 100%. You don't get any dynasties rolling now. You don't get any of the look out, North Carolina's gonna be awesome for the next 4 years because they got an incredible freshman class. There is no such thing as that.
No.
I can't follow it. I don't know who the hell's who. I don't care. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean, and
Plus the Gophers have sucked for so long. Like I don't even watch.
And then the layer of filth that comes underneath it with all the extra agents and stuff that are pouring into
The shadowy
into the
figures.
game. Yeah,
The
Ooh.
parental.
and the parents now are
advisors.
changing.
The parent advisors.
Yeah, it's-
Family advisors.
And we're even thinking
It's-
about too, like the boosters, the different people that are a part of these universities, as well. How big of an influence they actually have now on the program's direction too. Just kind of talking about if. Again, with even Baldelli's
They
situation,
need a salary
things just
cap.
getting handed
They need a salary cap.
for
And then
okay.
College.
the trickle down.
They need a salary cap. I don't know what the numbers are, but I think you need to start saying. I say that kind of facetiously, but I also say that if you're the NFL and the NBA, maybe even MLB, you need to start working. We mentioned this at breakfast at the Hilltop on Arcadia Avenue, and I think
Sponsor.
I think you need to. I think you need to take a look at it and say, you guys got to work together.
Yep.
You guys got to be a developmental program. Players should be able to be drafted at 18 now, but they ain't coming in until they play college because they're not ready. And then those colleges will develop those players. And no different than what like hockey's doing.
Kind of like the hockey model, yeah.
It's a little bit like that. And I think that would take it a long way from those two competing because if you're a senior at Auburn or at a large SEC school that's crushing and you're making not many, but like you're one of those guys that's like a $10 million NIL guy if it exists.
Yeah.
Why would you leave for a rookie contract when you're making more of what will be an incoming
shit.
season? You're not.
And that's also the biggest thing too. Like, do you think that there's anything that college basketball or even just college sports could do? I know they have they have their contracts set up to where obviously if you defer or transfer, you're obviously missing out on a big chunk of money. Do you think they can effectively structure some of these contracts and deals to where there's actually some like buy-in and staying power with some of these athletes in schools?
Well,
or
that's
do you
where
just-
if they work with each other,
yeah,
and then they can say, okay, if you stay within your
you're guaranteed this.
yes, you'll get a bonus of X or something like that. And then you can get a little more consistency. But I think they've completely, with NIL, didn't realize they're destroying the freshman classes at the
100%.
Power 5 conference schools. There is no such thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's true.
No.
How much? I mean, I'm a little bit behind on this, but I mean, I know it's a big deal. But how much transparency is there behind what players are actually making?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. We don't know.
not a lot.
I mean,
you're
that's
right.
not
I'm
a
just
lot.
throwing numbers
No, I
around
know,
like
but that's
It's all a guess.
But you can't
Yeah.
really. I mean,
It's
if you're
not-
trying to
it's
get
not
behind
like-
it, like
it's
it's hard to
not-
know what is
it's
going
not
on
like
if you don't know.
Yeah, it's not like
Which
public.
is
It's not like
scary.
public numbers that you see on ESPN or Sports Center or whatever,
all
where it's like
privately
brand new deal.
Yeah.
So and so quarterback. 3 years, $90 million or whatever. No, it's.
I heard
That's
one of the
not- that's
college
wild.
coaches once say, everybody thinks all these guys are making $5 million.
No,
he said,
couple $100,000.
We might have a couple $100,000 spread out among our whole team.
But that's a lot of money back.
But that's more than you'd make working at the restaurant.
oh my god.
Well, Shedeur
Waiting tables
Sanders is an
Is the
example.
last
Like,
minute of play in the
he's-
period.
He's making
But
millions.
why?
Yeah. Say real quick though, I know you asked about college basketball. Florida, Auburn, Houston, Duke, all 1 seeds made it in. There were some fun runs early on in the tournament, but
When was the last time all the ones made it?
2008.
Thank you.
2008.
Wow.
What
Spit
about
that out.
Cooper
right
Flagg from Duke? I guess he's a rising star as a freshman.
I mean,
He's
the
gonna be a
dude,
top NBA.
the
player.
guy is a friggin'
Tree.
giant. I
Yeah.
mean, he's 6'8" or something just absurd. And when you're that tall and you have a little bit of athleticism, I mean,
It goes far.
Not only can you dunk, can you block on the rim? I mean, yeah,
You just
I mean,
have to stand there and dunk.
He's gangly though.
He
You know,
is.
It's crazy to see him dominate so much. He does though.
not quite like a Kevin Durant, tall and lanky. He actually has a little bit of size on him.
Yeah.
But I'll be really curious to see. I mean, just exciting matchups across the board. I mean, you look and see, the records that they've had this year. And, I mean, ultimately, again, Duke, as much as I hate them, there's just something respectable about them. Always.
They always
always.
show up. They
Don't forget
always
to-
show up.
There's a word
They
I
show
use.
up.
Duke is Duke.
Don't forget too, Minnesota native UConn Paige, right? Paige Buchers.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's going
Yes,
for it.
on
Beckers.
Beckers.
Excuse me.
I know, we're confusing all the B's today.
Buchers. Bedard, Berard,
That was an epic
Beckers.
F up
But no,
there.
that's another great
Retake.
story, too, on the women's side
Rewind.
of things. Minnesota native. She's just been, again, absolutely crushing it.
her durability is going to be the key in the WNBA. We'll see how that works. We'll get into that when the WNBA
right.
starts in earnest. A couple more things just to close out here, Doc. Can I?
Yep.
Can I? Please?
Yes, sir.
Go for it.
Please and thank you. Brian Harmon leads the Valero Open by 4 over Keith Mitchell. Keith Mitchell's had himself a nice little bit of a run over the past back half of last year and into this year. But on moving day, we'll see if anybody starts moving around. Harmon, the lefty, getting it done. Can't wait for Masters next week. Oh, and by the way, there's this live thing going on, but does anybody care?
No. We're all watching the
What about
Masters.
Every one of those guys are washed. To be
TGL
honest.
indoor golf league.
Unbelievable.
That was cool. I like that.
We
didn't talk
brought it
about that
up.
yet.
We brought it up a little bit.
Great ad on
Yeah.
that.
I
That'll
love
be a
that.
good one to talk about.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Hey, well, thanks for joining us at the Metasports League Studios and the DigiFan Podcast for Wags, JC, Quirky Quirk, woo, LTs, and Peanut. We're here usually Fridays at 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern.
Yep.
See you next time.